Salakia, and I'm back. This is part two of my first video. I got rudely interrupted by goddamn reprobates, but that's okay and that's alright. I'm gonna keep continuing while these reprobates stay here and get set on motherfucking fire. So and thus, Yadai, to know, understand, acknowledge by seeing, and again, seeing is in the heart, in the mind, in the la'ab, and so and thus, again, not with your eyes, because your eyes will deceive you. And if your eyes deceive you, then you're deceived by yaHaWaH. The deceived and the deceiver are his, and you all will fall into the ditch. Specifically, especially those of the circumcision whose fucking mouths must be stopped. Isaiah 33:6, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. The fear of Eliah and yaHaWaH is his treasure. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation, for the fear of Eliah and yaHaWaH is his treasure. And we will go down and see what it says for knowledge. Dayath, which is another version of Yadai, because it comes from Yadai. When we click on it, we go to Da'ayath, whose root word is Yadai, to know, understand, perceive, knowledge, cunning, know. Knowledge, cunning. Another way to say Yadai is Dayath. Knowledge in general, because Yadai means to know. Dayath means knowledge. You know, you have a bank of knowledge. Now, if you know something but you forget it or don't take it to heart or practice it, you know it, but you don't have the knowledge of it because you're forgetting it or not implementing, acting on it. You have to have the knowledge, wisdom, and that will be the stability. Knowledge with understanding, not just knowledge, because any asshole can have knowledge and still be fucking his life up because the nigger don't have understanding. So, knowledge is understanding in the mind, in the soul, in the heart, not how you see or how you believe or how you think or what your goddamn opinion is. Again, it's yaHaWaH's movie, but if you think like that, then that's how you think, and you're only thinking like that to be set on fire. Daniel 1 4, children in whom was no blemish, but well favored, and skillful in all wisdom, and cunning in knowledge and understanding, science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, in whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans. Daniel 1 4, children in whom was no blemish, not children like you two-third reprobates who are literal 13 and 14-year-old children because y'all didn't go to high school or any kind of schooling. Y'all dropped out. And unlike some people who can drop out and they're still smart, they were dropping out because of the bullshit at school. You niggers dropped out because you don't like to learn. And then all of a sudden, you're picking up the hardest document in the world to understand, the Bible, the Torah, the verse of the script. And now you're trying to break it down with little to no knowledge about anything. All right, the apostles back in the day and the apostles right now weren't stupid men to begin with. They were just unlearned in the scriptures and the truth thereof. But they weren't people who don't know fucking math or who don't know how to read, because those are true, pathetic, beast-like human beings. Base of base, because education don't mean shit to them. And thus, these kinds of people you find in the homeless shelters out in fucking just complete degradation and filth and live horrible, painful lives, die really young or old, most of them young, in shitty conditions because they don't have basic fucking understanding. And so, in thus, children in whom was no blemish, but well favored and skillful in all wisdom and cunning in knowledge and understanding, science, true science, not science so called, how it speaks of in the New Testament. Science, literal science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans. We go down to the word science, and just really quickly, cunning, yadai, knowledge, dayath, understanding, bayan. Ooh, that's another word. Bayan means to be in between, and by being in between or in the middle or in the midst, you understand, i.e., reading between the lines. You read a sentence in a book and you understand what it's saying, not just what the words are saying to you in general, but with context and with learning and understanding in the spirit, you understand what it's actually saying in other words, not just the words being used. Science, madai, from the knowledge. Ma, from, die, which is short word for yadai. Sometimes they do that in Hebrew. The first letter, especially yana, disappear, and you only use the second two letters and add prefixes or yeah, prefixes. So ma from, die, knowledge, science, madai, madai, knowledge, thought, science, intelligence, or consciousness. So for I acknowledge my transgressions, I understand wholly why I am living in a hell. It is for and because of my sins against the law, statutes, commandments, yaHaWaH, yaHaWaH, and my sin, follow the law, statutes, commandment, is ever before me. Again, the difference between the hopefully elect and you piece of shit 2/3 is that we acknowledge, repent, regret, relent back to yaHaWaH, yaHaWaH through the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of the ability. The rest of you pieces of shit are still stuck on food, the woman, and that fucking lucre. Until then, I come back with more. Shalom, Be'ata, Wada, Baba, Shalom.